Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world or in your day. This is the What You Know About It podcast. It's Ra, with my co-host as always, the Panic Hispanic himself, Edgar. How you doing, man?
I'm here for you, Ra,
For me?
and the people listening and watching right now, actually, because we are live.
You're still getting used to that, right? Being live on YouTube, it's a little weird still.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I like the new camera setup, the angles and everything, like how we can see each other.
Yeah.
It's just different, but I like it a lot.
Yeah, we're getting there slowly but surely. A little bit of growth here and there. So got to invest in a few things, but it's a hell of a ride. I tell you that, and
Yeah, it is.
really thankful for all the support we're getting. We're growing. Oh yeah, how's your
We
week been, man?
It's been good. Can we
Yeah.
talk about the topic at hand, or like at least the news that kind of broke yesterday?
Oh, Gina Carano. I won't talk about that.
Man,
I don't talk about
no,
that. It's kind of controversial. Get out of date.
it is, but I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to picture the show without her in it, and honestly, I can like
Yeah.
not my favorite actress, you know.
But I mean, but the character itself, are they gonna just push the character?
They're not
to the
gonna kill off
side,
the.
or are they
There's
gonna
no way.
recast? Who knows? They said they were gonna give her her own show at one point, but
I know.
that's
Not
a
anymore.
topic for another day. Topic for another day. Kind of
yeah.
crazy. Yeah, but man, I mean, today's gonna be really good, right? We definitely we got a fun topic today. I've been waiting on this one.
Yeah, you have.
Hell yeah. Man, we are going to be talking to one of my close friends, one of my favorite people in the world, Richard Dorton, a.k.a. the Mocapman. This guy is a veteran performance capture actor, director, stunt coordinator, producer, movement consultant, instructor, and casting director with over 100 video game credits to his name. I mean,
That's insane.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah, but let me tell you about him though. He's probably one of the most humble people I've ever met. You wouldn't know it. When I met him, he was just regular guy. He was like, "Man, you want to eat? You want to hang out? Just cool, man." We just had conversations, and I didn't even realize what he. I mean, I knew because the person that introduced me to him kind of prepped me ahead of time, but I didn't get that vibe of this is someone who's accomplished a lot of things in the entertainment industry, and I mean, man, he's been a great friend to have, and I'm just glad we could get him on the show and talk about some fun things, man. It's gonna be good to have him on. Richard, how you doing today?
What's up?
What's up?
How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm here to support you, man. I really appreciate what you're doing, and I'm glad you're doing your thing. Your voiceover stuff is awesome, and I'm this is what friends do, right?
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. Not only are we friends, but I really respect your work, man. And I've been meaning we've had conversations, but I've been really meaning to dive into a few things with you, and I thought, why not bring you on a podcast? Should be fun.
Best way to do it. that way we're not rehearsed. You can ask me anything and I'll give it to you straight.
But before you get started on diving in, can we please hear the story of how you guys met? Because I'm curious about how that even started.
Kind of like this way, Edgar, the way I met you through a friend.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
No.
it's you meet people along the way in your life, and you're either going to stay friends with them or they're going to be acquaintances. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So, um, I don't socialize a lot out. You know, it's when you're working and you're busy. You know, I don't socialize a lot. So family's really important to me. My girlfriend has a huge family. You know, she's the youngest of 9, and
Oh,
so
damn.
you're surrounded by a lot of support and things like that. So I'm not a big Hollywood person that needs to go out, and maybe to my detriment sometimes that I don't self promote as much as I should. But you
Mm.
know, I have close family friends, and so when they introduce you to somebody like Rod, he becomes family. You know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah.
It's not like that's kind of the way my life has been. Is you know, if I meet you and you fall into my little,
Uh-oh.
so
Okay.
you could tell him how we met with a crazy, crazy fun person on me.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you know, we have a mutual friend, Anders, and I mean, he was trying to get me to meet you for a while, and then my schedule just didn't shake clean for a while, and he just kept, hey man, like let's go to my friend's house, you're gonna love him, you know, he does motion capture, and at that time I didn't know that was a thing. So I was like, yeah, you know, whatever. And you know, when someone tells you that they've got a friend that does something, you're kind of like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
like, no, this guy's legit. I'm like, okay. And
because
you
he
know,
kind of did the same thing. He said, "Oh yeah, he's a voice actor," and I'm like, "Okay,
Okay.
yeah, okay." There are thousands
Whatever
of
that
them
is.
out there.
Cool.
yeah. And then, you know, it's kind of like I'm doing nothing. And Andrews is one of those friends. He's like, what are you doing right now? Nothing. I'm on the way. Get in the car. You know, and I'm like, and
Exactly.
you know what? I appreciate him for that because I was actually going through a lot at the time. You know,
Mm.
so in a in a strange way, he took me from a place where I could have ended up in a really dark spot, and it's like, come hang out with some good people, you know? And you get there, and you know, right away Richard's cracking jokes. His girlfriend Rita is very accepting, loving. I mean, right away, you know, it was like I walk in with a Patriots jersey, and they're like, "Why you here with that on?" So, you know, we're just having a good time. I mean, and then you know, he kind of showed me what he was into, and just kind of you bond over football, food, and laughs. Really, that's really what it
Mhm.
is, to be honest with you, man. And it hasn't stopped. Every time I've been able to come over, it's always like, hey man, where you been? You should be around more. You know, we had
Yeah.
another thing and you weren't here. You know, bring your family with you. What's stopping you? And I'm just like, oh man, it keeps catching me at weird times, and I always end up feeling like I missed that function. I should be there. You know,
Mm.
so I'm just happy that him and his family have open arms for me, and it's always love every time we see each other. So it's great.
That's
But
awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good sign that he didn't just deny you entry as soon as you walked up to the front porch with the Patriots
he could
jersey
have.
on.
He could have. I mean, we
I
was
was
winning.
that close. That
We was winning.
close.
You know, everybody don't want to be winners. It's okay.
Oh,
Yeah, thanks for
But
joining us, Richard.
yeah.
good night, everybody.
Hey, yeah, but plus, you know, it's also uh, once I found out, you know, that he did voiceover and stuff, and a project would cross my lap, and I knew I could just reach out and say, hey, can you throw down a track for me on this? I'm working on something, you know, just to get your feedback, and you know, it's great to be able to have somebody that you trust and that you can rely on
Yeah.
to throw something to you, and you know, we've kind of done that a couple times too, so that's been kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. But man, I haven't spoke to you since your big project. I mean, I saw you on the Facebook, hit the likes, you know, like little like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened. But you were one of the monsters on Godzilla King of the Monsters. You were one of the heads of Ghidorah.
Yep.
Okay.
I am the left-headed King Ghidorah, aka Kevin. I'm the one
You
that
gave it a
turned into
name?
the big meme. No, so it's a great story because three of us were King Ghidorah. We each played a different head. There
Okay.
was a center head, which was played by Jason Lyles. The right head was played by Alan Maxon, and I played the left head. We were each given different personalities. That's how we interact. And if you watch the movie, knowing that our personalities, center head is alpha, right head is angry, and the left head is the more curious one.
Okay.
You can see our personalities in our performance. And what had happened, like it's my head that licks the soldiers, after we fry them, and I lick the ice, and I'm sniffing it around. So
Okay.
he's more curious. And somebody on Twitter asked the director, "What are their names?" And since it's Japanese based, he called them Ichi, Ni, instead of saying San, he said Ichi, Ni, and Kevin, referring to Kevin from The Office, who's a little slow,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Kevin the Minion. So
Yeah.
it stuck with me. All of a sudden, I became a super meme to Ghidorah, and now So it's been pretty awesome. I love it. It's like like James Brown said, I don't care if you talk good about me or you talk bad about me, as long as you're talking about me,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Kevin blew up for me, and like I go to conventions and I sign autographs with the guys, and it's Ghidorah, and everybody wants me to sign it Kevin. So it's been pretty fun. But talk about a dream role. You're
Right.
the villain in a monster movie. It was pretty awesome.
And a Godzilla
how
movie,
much
nonetheless.
how much
Yeah.
input did you have on the personality of Kevin?
Well, Michael Dougherty was the director, and he was brilliant. He was great to work with, and it was his idea. He has a breed of dog, and he actually has 3 of them. So all 3 of those dogs have different personalities. Like he says, there's a lazy one, there's the more aggressive one, there's the one who's in charge, and he brought that to us when we were discussing the role. I want you to. Ghidorah has 3 heads. He should have 3 different personalities, and so it was his vision, that movie, and so my job as an actor is to follow his vision and let him lead, and he gave us great direction, and he gave us great input. What people don't realize is how fast we shot that movie, for the mocap, because they used us for reference. We our first rehearsal, we tried tying each of us together, to see if we could move as one unit, and we strapped in together, and that didn't work because you're tripping over each other's feet and stuff. And Jason Lyles also was the actor who played George the Gorilla in Rampage. He is 6'9". Okay,
Oh, dang.
he's a really tall guy, and Alan is like 6'2", and I'm the shortest one. I'm 6 feet. So Alan and I found that if we kept our inside hand on Jason's back, then we could move together. And since he was so tall, he played the wings. He gave reference for the wings. So because he was above us, so as long as we kept our hand on his back, we were connected, and you could tell like when it was time to get aggressive, Alan and I would push on his back a little bit harder. Like we just found that energy where we all moved together. So it only took us 3 days to shoot the mocap for that film.
Really?
So yeah,
3 days? That's it?
they all the live action was done almost a year before we shot.
Oh,
The great thing about it was the process was like I thought I was going to an audition for it. So I was in my sweatpants and t-shirt ready to move, and I show up at Legendary, and they walk me into a boardroom with this giant table and chairs, and he's sitting there with the VFX supervisors with a laptop, and he's like, "Sit down. I want to show you this clip." He shows us some clip from the movie, and he goes, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. I think he should be moving." And they're like, "Sit down. We know who you are. You have a reputation." To me, it was one of the most incredible auditions or meetings that I've ever had in my life, where I felt so respected. Like he was like, "We know who you are.
So
we
they
know
like
your
already
body of
wanted
work."
to hire you, kind of deal.
Yeah, they were
That's
just
We
trying to
want to
find.
work with you.
They were just trying to figure out which head I was going to be. I think they had it. He probably had it set that Jason was going to be the center head because he was so tall.
Right.
Yeah.
And Alan what is great about that is Alan is my student from my motion capture school. So I taught him. So to have one of my students be the right head, and that was his first big motion capture job.
Yeah.
That was an incredible experience. You know, it was
That's
an incredible
epic.
experience. So yeah, I'm in there ready. I kept getting up out of my seat and like growling and snarling and saying, maybe you can move, you know, I'm thinking more serpent like, and they're like, sit down. We got it. We know. And I think from my energy and personality, they kind of said, oh yeah, he's the curious one. He's going to be fun. You know, because playing, like, even in the video game work I do, playing the hero like Kratos
Yeah.
is kind of boring. He just stands there and broods. When I
Mhm.
work on God of War, I play a variety of other characters: Hermes, Hercules, you know, skeletons, Gaia. Everybody who gets to play opposite of the hero has so much more fun, you know.
Yeah.
And to me, it's much more interesting kind of character to play. But doing Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and playing King Ghidorah, it's like, as a kid, it's a dream come true. You know,
Wow.
Mhm.
I feel very blessed that I've been able to work in this medium, and for somebody to say, we know your body of work. Yes, we you know, we know you can handle it. I left that meeting. I called my girlfriend and I said, I don't care if I don't get the job. I felt more respected as an actor in my whole career during this meeting than anything I've ever done. So it was great. Cherry on top that I did
That's
get
so
the job.
cool.
But yeah,
Wow.
go back and watch it, and you will find Kevin the left head doing some stuff that you didn't expect. Like
I'm actually gonna
there's a
watch it.
great
I'm actually gonna watch it
Yeah,
tonight. I'm actually gonna watch it tonight.
definitely.
there's a great scene where we're firing gravity beams, you know, at the soldiers and stuff. And my gravity beam goes like completely off to the side, not even at anything. And like it's such a Kevin thing. It was pretty funny. But you know, I got to give props to all the animators that worked on that movie, because my performance, you know, it's used as reference, video referencing and things. But the animators on that movie did a hell of a job of bringing Ghidorah to life. It's my favorite version of King Ghidorah. You know, for homework, I watched the other Godzilla movies, but our Ghidorah, and you know what? I got the after credit scene right, and I got the transformation. You know, I got my head ripped off, so I got the rebirth scene. So I'm pretty good with that.
Yeah, that's gonna look good in the resume.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Richard, I have a question about your motion capture work. I mean, that's kind of like where did it all start? Like, what inspired you to decide that this is the line of work that I want to get into?
It I didn't know what motion capture was. I had just moved out to LA in 2000. I was living in Washington D.C. I was working as an actor. I did a lot of DC theater, so you know, theater trained, Shakespeare trained, and I would work on anything that came through DC as a movie. You would not believe how many times I am an extra or a background in a movie that has a DC background. I also
Oh,
ended up car coordinating uh, DC movies where you need cars to protect the camera car when they were shooting inside a car, somebody driving. You know, so I would have 4 cars surrounding the camera car, and we would drive through real traffic, and it was our job to, because they're filming out the windows, right? So it was
yeah.
our job to make sure no real traffic hit us and got near the camera car, and we were helping with the flow of the traffic. So
Oh,
I
wow.
ended up I ended up for me, I wanted to work in the business, and when you're in a small pond like Washington D.C., where they mostly do industrials and corporate film stuff, you know, if a movie came to town, I tried to get myself on it. I had no problem being a PA. I had no problem being an extra. You know, I just wanted to learn, and I
Yeah.
used to do costume, makeup, and I found myself, you know, just through learning, through doing all this stuff, I created this little stunt car coordinating business, you know, so I could jump on a movie. But I wanted to be a stunt man. That's basically, it started leading to that. So when I started getting a bunch of these things, like, you know, one of the big movies I worked on with car stuff and with the stunt team was Enemy of the State, with
Hmm.
Will Smith movie. Remember that? That was shot
Yeah.
in DC. So
Okay.
I was the stand-in for Jason Lee. So I got to be on set and work with, Tony Scott, Ridley Scott's brother, who directed the film, and I was in charge of the car. So, just at that point, I was like, I'm doing really, really well. I was stunt coordinating for America's Most Wanted, doing the reenactments and stuff like that. So I was like, if I'm going to make it as a stuntman, I need to go to Hollywood. And so I moved out. I moved out to California, and I got a stunt agent pretty much right away. And the first thing she sent me on was an audition at this place called House of Moves, where they had just done the stunts for Titanic, for all the guys falling off the ship when it was crashing.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm going to this awesome place. And the audition is for this thing called motion capture for a video game called Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights. So
Never heard
my
of
audition, my audition was for Shaggy. You have to walk like Shaggy. You have to be a gorilla. You have to be Frankenstein. You have to run and fall down. You have to, you have to trip. You have to dance. And so I stayed up the night before with my, believe it or not, with my VCR. I had recorded some Nick at Night, some Scooby-Doo, and I was able to do some screen grabs from my VCR to my computer, and I printed out pictures of the vampire, guy, the old man, and I took all this to my audition, and there were a bunch of guys there, and we were like, "What are we doing?" I have no idea. They came out and explained it, and I was like, "Oh, okay." So I have all this material I printed up last night, and I started sharing with all the stunt guys. And they, you have to be a gorilla too, and crawl on all fours. And so back then they said, everybody auditioned in front of everybody else, and they said, "Who wants to go first?" And everybody went, "That guy does." Because I was prepared. So
Never
I
fails.
went first. Yeah, well, I went first, so everybody copied me, and I booked the job. So I booked the job, and that was my first game, Scooby-Doo. I played Shaggy and all the villains in that game, and then so that was just a job.
Right.
Who knew that it was going to lead to the next thing? But the motion capture company, House of Moves, they championed me. They had another job coming in, and they said, "We just had this guy here who was incredible, who played all these different creatures and stuff to the client." And so they showed him some of my Scooby-Doo stuff, and the client said, if he can do that, he could do the Darth Vader walk. So my second game was Rogue Company. It's mostly a flying game, but if you get to the top level, you get to pick Darth Vader's ship, and they do a little cinematic with Vader and the stormtroopers walking towards his ship. So that was my second game. I got to do a Star Wars game and play Darth Vader. I think I was one of the first people to motion capture Darth Vader in a video game.
Wow.
Dude, that's freaking cool.
Wow.
Yeah. And
what I know
so
about
they
you,
just helped
Richard,
me.
is you're very expressive, right? Have you always been like that, or did your acting career, your stunt career, motion capture, did that all just heighten your expressiveness?
Maybe some of it, but I was a really small kid growing up. I'm mixed. I'm Vietnamese American. My dad was in the Vietnam War, so he was tall, like 6'2", 6'3". My mom was 5 feet. So when I was growing up, I thought I was going to be this little Asian kid, and I had a really late growth spurt in my high school year. In my senior year, I grew 10 inches. So I thought it was going to be just this little Asian kid,
Right.
and so I was very, very conservative, very reserved, very small. And then all of a sudden, I grew 10 inches. I was playing volleyball at the time, so
Came back one summer like, "Hey, homies."
Yeah, seriously.
I jumped from like shoe size 7 to 10. There was nothing in between. I just was like in flip flops because I was growing so fast.
Right.
But I went from this little kid at 5 feet. I could dunk a basketball. That's how good my vertical was. So add 10 inches to that, I became a volleyball star. I was all county, all state. I was actually trying to get into the Junior Olympics. I was the youngest player on the East Coast playing men's AA when I was in high school, while I was playing against all these college guys, because I had a great vertical and I could kill the ball. My nickname was Six Pack because in volleyball, a six-pack is when you spike the ball in somebody's face.
Yep.
And
Dang.
I knocked a guy out once in high school, which was incredible. When you finally get all the football jocks to come watch a game, they're always jumping in the net in gym class. And I'm like, you don't know how to play volleyball. They came. The one time I get all my jock friends to come, I knocked the guy out. And that stands went insane. But so all of a sudden, 10 inches, I grew up. I became this, I got so much confidence. Sports helps with that too. So I don't know, maybe that, plus I get to play incredible characters, and you have to be able to use your imagination and go there and be wild and crazy,
Looking through the resume of your characters that you've had, I mean, you're playing a lot of people that have a lot of confidence. At least in the video game world, that's definitely where like I would probably recognize you most as. Nathan Drake. I mean, come on, like that's the ultimate swagger. Darth Vader, Master Chief. I mean, Peter Venkman. I mean, Peter Venkman. You have to know from Ghostbusters. Like, I don't know. That's a lot of different personalities that you had to come up with.
Yeah, I mean, Nathan Drake is what was so great about working on the Uncharted game was that they have a great lead in Nolan North. Nolan North is great voice actor, great. He was Nathan Drake in the cinematics, but for gameplay, there's a variety of us doing in-game work. Like I was Nathan Drake's stunt double for some scenes. I was the gameplay character, for some fight stuff, for running, jumping, climbing, things like that.
Cool.
I always tell my students and I tell people, motion capture is a Frankenstein. We call it a Frankenstein kind of job. It's somebody else's voice. It's somebody else's face. It's somebody else's body. Somebody else is doing a stunt. We are a culmination of a lot of people to bring a character to life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times, I'm not going to get the credit. Like a stunt man, you're in the background.
Sure.
It's the voiceover actor gets all the credit for those characters.
Yeah.
And rightfully so for some of them, and not for some. I have to say.
Damn it, Ra.
we thank you for your services.
Yeah, I mean, but that's it. It's a collaborative art, and that's why I've always looked at it. So I don't get bitter over stuff like that. I know what I signed up for.
Yeah.
When you're a stunt double, it's like fall down and don't look at the camera. Hide your face, right? I need the back of your head, and I need the stunt done right and safely, and I need the back of your head. So I know what I signed up for.
It's one of those things. It doesn't always work out though. Like I know Michael Ironside was doing the voice of Sam Fisher in all those Tom Clancy games, and then they replaced him once the technology got better because they had a guy who could do the physical stuff and the on-camera stuff or the mocap stuff, and everybody was like, "No, where's Michael Ironside? This is not okay."
Yeah.
It just depends.
I've been on set where the director has said to me, because they've hired somebody for their voice, but physically they can't move well. That they're either variety of reasons why. You're just not a good mover. You're too old. You might have a great voice, but they'll stand next to me and go, watch his performance, and when he leaves, we're going to reshoot it again with your body, because he's 65 years old and he's got a great voice for a sergeant, but he can't fall down in an explosion. So if I pay attention and I watch that physicality, then I could be the stunt double for him. But I mean, things like that happen all the time. So it's amazing how many times I see projects I've worked on where people have said, they think it's them and it's not, but it's not my place to say, aha, I replaced him in that. I replaced him in that, or whatever. It's just part of the job. And,
well, okay. So
and it does suck sometimes. It does suck sometimes because you as a voice actor, you put in all this work and then to get replaced like that because of what some executive who knows nothing about what the hell's going on to make that decision. Welcome to life.
So what does it take to be what's the proper term? A performance capture
actor?
Well, is that the proper term?
Yeah, but acting is acting.
Like who can do that? Like the average person can't say, "Oh, I'll put on a suit and I can do it." Right? It's more to it.
Well, like I said, an actor. I'm just acting.
Yeah.
I just act in a different world. And if you're a good, I tell my students, if you're a good actor, you'll probably end up in the suit, because ultimately I have to be able to memorize lines. I have to go there emotionally. See, that's part of the thing is, there's the physical aspect. There's in-game motions, running, jumping, climbing, shooting. You know, it takes thousands of moves to create the move tree for your gameplay. Like, half the people don't even know that. They think it's animated. No, I actually open a door for a character walking in, but I don't open the door as me. I open the door as the character. So I have to be an actor. I have to be a good actor. Um,
How
the
would
only
Kratos
different,
open a door?
right? First, he would just stand there and stare at it and breathe heavy, you know, for like 5 minutes.
And the door would open by itself because it was so scared.
Exactly.
I think
So
my
you have
first
to.
experience with like motion capture, and like I totally respect 100% what you do. The first time that I ever played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and I watched Tony Hawk put on the mocap suit and see what he had to go through in order to like get the just like the visuals in that video game alone. I was like, I don't care who you are, whatever video game you're mocapping, that is not easy work.
No, it's physically demanding, and so you can say, okay, if you're not in shape,
Mhm.
you're gonna have a little bit of trouble.
A
I
little bit.
fall down a lot, you know, and it's
Yeah.
not falling down that hurts; it's the getting up that hurts, you know, quickly.
So it's like,
But
would you compare it like to playing football, like that constant grind in that sense?
if you're doing in game, yes.
Okay.
If you're doing cinematic work, you know, or movie
Mhm.
work, you know, as mocap, say, take Alita, you know, she had some great stunts in there, but it's an acting role that she was cast in. So the only difference is, instead of having, you know, having a set, having props that are true to life, I'm capturing in a room with apple boxes and tape on the floor.
Yeah.
So I have to use my imagination 10 times more than you do. If
Yeah.
you show up on a movie set, right, you get a costume, you get all this stuff. In mocap, I get that funny looking suit with the balls on it. So I
Yep.
have to create my world, or I have to create my environment. I
Mhm.
have to create my character. I have to know that my socks are green underneath my blue jeans. Because if I
Mm,
don't know, that's the work, that's the extra work that performance capture actors have to do. You know, it's we have to use our imagination.
right.
Can
You
you
must have
make
had
an
a hell
apple
of an
box?
imagination growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not it's
Can you
not that
make an
different
apple
from
box
voiceover, to
something?
be honest with you. It's not that
Exactly.
different.
Exactly. You know it. And you have to create the environment for your voice work. You have to create the person that you're talking to when you're doing it by yourself, right? You know, you
Yeah.
sometimes you get lines fed to you, and most of the times you don't. So you've got to imagine what that conversation
Come
is
up with a
like.
whole
So
narrative. Yeah.
Yeah.
it mocap is like that. So you have to be a good actor to do motion capture. I can easily
It
find a
makes sense.
stunt double for you. You know, I can find a stunt double for you. But if you're a good actor, you know, it's the same thing, Rod. I would be surprised to put you in a suit, you know, because I want your voice of that character. You're going to be playing, you know, you can play a detective. You
Mhm.
know, it doesn't mean you have to go and dive and roll and you know, get slammed up
I
against the
mean,
wall all
hey,
the
how
time.
much you paying
It's
me?
an acting role.
I'll do the diving and rolling. Whatever.
It's a look. It's a dream job, right? This is
Yeah.
what we as fanboys and fangirls think about. Like,
Yeah.
to say that I got to play Wolverine, yeah, I got to play Master Chief.
Ooh.
That it's incredible. It's
Ooh.
incredible.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
pretty badass. I did notice that you what do you call it? In so well, out of all the characters that you were playing in video games and stuff like that, is there a favorite character that you played as?
Oh, I was gonna ask him that. I was so gonna ask him that. That's a good question.
Yeah.
They're all my babies. You know, like
Yeah, no, I believe it.
there there are definitely exceptions. You
Mhm.
know, I mean, I got to work on the final cinematic and gameplay scenes of Star Wars: The Force Unleashed 2.
That's freaking cool.
So so I did the scene where you can either go light side or dark side, right? So I got to
Yeah.
play Darth Vader, and I got to play the Apprentice, and I actually got to play Juno, who Darth Vader throws out the window and kills. You know, I did
Mhm.
Right.
that stunt role for her. So, you know, I shot that up at the Presidio with LucasArts, I got a full tour of that place. So you're working on a Star Wars project at a place where they do Star Wars things. You're holding a real blaster, you're holding a real lightsaber.
Right.
That's an incredible experience. Left 4 Dead is one of my ultimate dream jobs. I got to play all the heroes and the zombies in Left 4 Dead. That's all. That game is awesome.
My brother is gonna geek out when he sees this interview because I don't know if I told him that about you, but I know he's gonna watch this interview sometime later, and he's crazy about Left 4 Dead. So
that's a dream. It's a dream job. But like even going back to the Ghostbusters, like when you play the Ghostbusters video game, you're playing my body. I did all the in-game moves, so I am the rookie character.
Yeah.
But in the cinematics, I am Peter Venkman, right? And then I went in and I did all face capture to the audio. So I'm a lot of faces in that game too, where I'm just lip syncing to the dialogue, and they're using
that game
my
was
face
so
capture.
underrated. I loved that video game. It was so good.
Yeah.
What's
to me,
you have, Richard? What's that saying you have? If you play video games,
if you've played a video game, you've probably killed me. That's my tagline. Yeah, but I mean, that game to me is Ghostbusters 3. It was a great Ghostbusters movie within that thing.
I missed that one then. I never played that one.
Yeah, go back and play it. It's so good.
and I like, I worked on Silent Hill Homecoming to play Pyramid Head, to play Schism, all those creepy, weird, freaky monsters that come. That game is scary. I love that kind of stuff too, where I get to play. I do creature stuff. So
I'm not gonna lie, I skipped that one. I'm too scared for that game. Ever since I played the first one on the PS1, no man, I'm out.
I mean, I think I have a story for every one of the games that I've worked on. I mean, did you know that there is a Desperate Housewives video game?
I'm gonna guess it was on PC.
PC, yeah. There is ER, the video game.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I mean, CSI Miami.
Okay. So is there a role that they hey, we need you to do this, whatever it is, and you go, man, I don't know if I can do that. That's kind of that's out of my wheelhouse.
As an actor, I should be able to do everything right. But what I won't
you have to figure it out. Like it took you a minute to go,
Yeah. Well, okay. So what I won't do is I won't tell you I have a skill that I don't have. Like I won't tell you I'm a martial artist, because I'm not. I'm more of a ground and pound kind of guy. I never took karate growing up. Something I regret more than anything, But I wasn't taught martial arts. I wasn't. No, it isn't. And I've taken, some beginning classes because I just want to know how to move. What's great about my career right now is I'm moving into the director and stunt coordinator roles more than before. 20 years of falling on your face has taken its toll. So, but with the right time and time to study a character, I think I can do. That's my job as an actor, to bring the character to life. If you think that I'm right for it, right? So, sure. Would I love to be in Mortal Kombat video game? Yes, but I'm not a martial artist. I can't do all that crazy,
right.
The right style of katana work and things like that.
The world owes you Mortal Kombat,
and karate,
Richard.
But
the world owes you Mortal Kombat.
They do. I mean, and it always comes back to that, because I don't know, Edgar, if you know that. Remember that short that was on YouTube, Mortal Kombat Rebirth, that came out, about 7 years ago or so. It's actually more like 10 years ago. Yeah. So the director was trying to create a darker version of Mortal Kombat. So that movie's coming. It's finally here. I think it'll be, within next year or so, it'll be released. But I did that original Mortal Kombat Rebirth. I am Reptile in that. So
whoa.
I'm in the scene where the guy rips off the head and I pull out some flesh off a head and I eat it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's me.
Gnarly shit, man.
That is a gnarly clip.
I'm like that. I know that guy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
But
gotta
what-
be like,
I
oh,
made
I
it
know that
after the
guy.
fact. I made it after the fact. Yeah, I was like, man, that wasn't in his refrigerator. I went to his house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what
No,
happened
not
with
the same.
that? What happened with that project was that was released accidentally. I think the director was going to try to show it to somebody, and he put it on YouTube. And instead of making it private, he made it public.
Ooh.
And then that's when it blew up. I mean, it's great. We got 1 million views,
Yeah.
And it started the revolution. But then they did 2 seasons on YouTube of Mortal Kombat, where they did origin stories. So I have a bunch of friends in that. But what happened with the reptile character was in Mortal Kombat Rebirth, I believe, they explained my skin condition as a real disease called harlequinichthyosis, and it's a real disease where babies are born and their eyelids are flipped inside out, and their cells are just regenerating so fast, and usually babies, they die within 2 weeks of being born. It's a horrible disease, and they for that, the director had found some footage on YouTube, and I think it was an Indian baby somebody had taken a picture of, and they used that as the backstory of that's why reptile skin is the way it is. It's regenerating. That's why he has to eat flesh from people. So when they put that in the short, I believe Warner Brothers got sued by the family of that baby because it was showing the disease in a horrible light, something like that. Something like that happened with it. And so while they were able to make all the origin stories of the other characters, Reptile didn't get an origin story. So I was supposed to get one, and I never got one. And
That's
that
a
just
bummer.
kind of, yeah, it's pretty bad. But it's Hollywood, it is what it is.
Things will happen, right?
Reptile's had many iterations. I mean, the first time I remember him was the ninja, and then I remember in the Mortal Kombat movie, the original film, he was like an actual animal that was like a chameleon, basically. Like, make up your minds, guys.
But another funny thing that came out of that was I did the makeup. I shaved my head. I shaved splotches of my hair out. I got a full face cast to do the makeup. I spent more time in makeup than I did actually shooting my scene. We just knocked it out so fast. One of the things they wanted to do, they wanted to make my eyes red. So they were going to CG red, or they were looking for contact lenses for me. But everything was happening so fast, no budget. I mean, Kevin pulled off this incredible miracle. And, he is now, he directs a lot of TV. He has directed, since that, he's done a couple movies, but he directed on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Flash, Green Arrow. Like he's a legit director now. So,
that's a
he's
decent
like,
resume.
I put my $10,000 of my own personal money into this, and then boom, here's what happens, But so we were going to do my eyes. And then I said to them, I could roll my eyes up into my head like that.
Yeah.
And so we got some
really
red eye dye.
He's too good at that.
So they got some red eye dye and they put it in my eyes. And I did that whole scene blind. We could get my eyes red. So,
okay.
So that happened. I did the whole scene like this. I just knew I had to remember where everything was laying and stuff like that. And then, but from that, the company that did that, my face cast, they were also the company that did the special effects on the first season of Westworld. And if you look at the wall,
is on Westworld, yes, I remember that. Yeah,
my head is in the scenes with Anthony Hopkins, like right over his shoulder.
Yeah.
You can see kind of like my stormtrooper helmet right there.
Yeah.
It's just like my head's on the back wall because it was the same company.
You can say you were in a scene with Anthony Hopkins. That's legit.
And I do.
Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Sir Anthony.
Yeah. My bad.
But it just goes to show how everything is connected, and and like I said, everything. You got to be nice to who you work with, because you never know where you're going to end up with, and who knows who, and the collaboration. And that's why you can't lie about stuff.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Now, I know that you did work on Tron. What did you do in Tron?
Okay, so there are a few of us, maybe half a dozen of us, were used for the soldiers. Like whenever you see big scenes of, like, so they capture 6 of us all marching, all doing the same
Gotcha.
thing, or when we were all getting a bunch of people are getting into the train. A lot of uh, generic people motion capture stuff that you wouldn't know, crowd simulation stuff where they need a
Hmm.
lot of people. So you do stuff like that, you don't get any credit for it because you fall under like the VFX department, and their
Yeah.
budget. I mean, you get paid, but it's kind of one of those janky things where it's like we don't care who you are, you're just a body. But
Yeah.
yeah, but you're like,
But-
oh, I'm in a film with Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
I'm working on Tron. I'll take
Yeah.
it.
And Tron, nonetheless, like that's freaking cool.
Yeah, yeah. So that the mocap and the digital age of work is so interesting, and it's still in its infancy because SAG dropped the ball when it came to the digital world and technology. It's just like when Blu-ray came and they were like, well, it's not DVDs. They didn't know how to handle the residual situation and how to
Sure.
pay actors,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
and they do it voiceover, and they definitely did it with motion capture. I think they poo-pooed the whole thing. Oh, motion capture, that's nothing. It's going to go away,
Mhm.
and so the producers took advantage of being able to negotiate contracts that aren't really that great for us. Some jobs, yes.
Right.
Sony, like Uncharted, The Last of Us, those games are union jobs, so you're
Okay.
gonna make good money. It's gonna go towards your pension and health,
Right.
but still, there's no residuals in video games.
Yeah.
If I got
Oh,
a if I got
really?
a if I got a penny for every game that was sold, I would be happy
Right.
Hell
because
yeah.
I've worked on Call of Duty 2 and 3. Those things, you sell 55 million. I'll take 55 million pennies, you
Yeah.
know?
Hell yeah.
But it's the nature of the business has changed. I mean, we see it now in commercial contracts and the internet, and now with influencers, all of
Yeah.
that has upset the pay scales and residuals and things like that. And it's digital so cheap now.
Yeah.
You can most commercial companies normally it's like in a commercial world, they buy you out for 13 weeks. That's a commercial cycle. And then
Mm.
if it ran again, you got money, the residuals, right?
Mhm.
It's cheaper to just shoot a new commercial,
Yeah.
Now, oh, I have a red camera. That's already paid for.
Yeah.
I can shoot a 4K commercial. It's cheaper than just running. So if you see a commercial that is running longer and longer, that person is doing pretty well off on the residual side. But
What
you get your
commercials do
residual.
that? I can think of
You
a
know,
commercial that's been like long running like that.
most of the time it's seasonal. Like you'll see a Christmas commercial come back
Oh,
around the next year. So what they have to do is
gotcha.
they have to put that actor on hold for a whole year just so they
Oh,
can run
damn.
it again. You
Mhm.
know,
Oh, man. I didn't even
But
think about that.
going back for a second though,
yeah.
Richard, with Godzilla, I know that was like really huge for you. Did you do like a red carpet event or like a private screening on the lot or anything like that and see the finished product and just kind of like in wow for yourself? Like, oh my God, like I'm in a freaking Godzilla movie right now.
Okay. So I got to go to the premiere. Like it's an actor's dream, right? I got to go to a premiere at Grauman's Chinese Theater,
Uh,
okay, in Hollywood,
where's my invite?
in in IMAX, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's where we were invited to the party, but I was not allowed to walk the red carpet. Yeah, the three of us we
Yeah.
showed up behind the scene. We showed up to the party, but we didn't walk the red carpet with the other stars. So because they also didn't want to spoil the secret of how
How they
Ghidorah
did
was
it.
being made, that
Mhm.
kind of thing.
That
Which
makes sense.
you know,
Yeah.
on one hand, yes, but on the other hand, people knew. They
Yeah.
started dropping stuff. When you get the trailer, and then we weren't allowed to talk about it. That was the hardest thing, to have a commercial come out that you're like, holy shit, look at us, and
Right.
then all of a sudden you can't say anything. We couldn't promote ourselves, and I had just signed with a convention agent who was trying to get us out there to do convention appearances,
Okay.
and they wanted to put us on panels, and we couldn't do it till the movie released. So that was really hard.
Yeah.
So we go to the party. I'm at Grauman's. I'm happy. I'm finally seeing my movie on IMAX in Grauman's. It's a dream come true. So yes, I
Yeah.
got to go to a red carpet event. Were we invited to walk the red carpet? No.
Yeah.
But there you go. It's part
It's
of the
Hollywood.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I have that memory of being at Grauman, and I will always call it Grauman's Chinese Theater. I can't call it that. What is it?
That's right. What is it now? I don't remember now.
TLC,
I
Chinese
don't-
theater.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
You're there. You're looking
I
at all
won't
the
accept that either.
handprints. Right. You're looking at the handprints and the footprints in the cement. You're like, this is the Hollywood dream. So I have been fortunate enough to experience that. Yes.
I need to go back to the fact that you mentioned The Last of Us. When did I kill you in that?
Actually, I didn't work on The Last of Us.
Oh, I thought you said
it's
The
the
Last
same.
of Us. I'm
No,
sorry.
I was just using that as an example.
Okay.
Because
at
it's
least the one
a
for
great
me.
game. It is a great game.
Yeah.
You give props to a game like that. Troy Baker does an amazing job with that. And as funny enough, I cast Troy Baker in one of his first video games, early video games. I sent him to Japan to work on a game called Binary Domain. So it's great to see his career explode like it has. I mean, he's super talented, and so like his voice work in that, and like you look at Troy Baker and then you look at Joel,
Yeah.
it's incredible cinematic work in that game. I think he was brilliant in it.
Yeah. It was that was a classic for me. Definitely a classic.
Yeah,
is there like a dream job still out there for you? Like something that you just like, I need to get my hands on this.
It's
if you don't want to jinx it, I understand.
I'm a huge Aliens fan.
Yes,
I've been collecting Alien memorabilia. Like my table behind me has a ton of Alien stuff on it. But I'm a huge Alien fan. I did the first Alien Colonial Marines video game that got canceled back in 2003, I think. So I was devastated because I got a chestburster scene, I had a facehugger scene. I was playing, as well as doing the in-game stuff. I got to play Bishop because Bishop was like narrating the game. So I have these old Lance Hendrickson VO files on my computer still, where he's talking as Bishop. So that was the first game I worked on that got canceled. And out of the 100 games I've worked on, you cancel my Alien game, Then they did bring it back, like I think 2007, 8. They did that game, and it's horrible. I hate to say it, but it's a horrible version of the game. So working on an Alien project was a dream job for me. I was lucky enough that when Alien Covenant came out, I got to do a VR piece where I stunt coordinated where the backburster comes out of the actress. We recreated that in VR, and it's on YouTube. You can see it. So I was able to stunt coordinate that. So I was like, I finally got my Alien fix. I got to do that. And then there was in Orange County, there was a VR experience where you got to go shoot facehuggers and aliens in a VR experience down at the Orange Mall or something like that. I mean, it was an incredible VR experience, and I got to do that. So I finally got to play Colonial Marine. I got to kill facehuggers, and I got another chestburster scene. So I will still always pine to work on an Alien project. That really is my, that's my thing.
It's the one that got away.
I mean, there's still time.
Yeah.
Look, Fox is starting a new Alien series, right? And there's always hope. Plus, I have a couple like my own fan films and stuff I want to do, and one of them revolves around Alien. So I've just dusted that script off, and who knows? Maybe I'll make something. I have access to the mocap technology and stuff, and maybe I'll surprise you.
You have a red camera? Ra, have you ever done VR by chance? Ra,
I have not. I have not.
you're missing out.
I
I've done it
Yeah.
yeah.
once. One time, I did it at the Void in downtown Disney,
Mhm.
and did their little Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got attacked by Darth Vader. It was pretty gnarly.
Really. Really. Is it
You
like
feel a little,
It's
it's a
pretty
little too close
awesome.
to comfort.
is it really lifelike?
Yeah, pretty. It was pretty close. I
Yeah.
did it with
It's
Garrett and Jerry.
Oh,
Ugh.
really?
Yeah,
Okay. I'm gonna have to, when the world reopens, I'll have to try that.
yeah.
yeah.
It's
It's worth
it's
checking out.
definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Has
VR, that's the future.
Yep, that's definitely where I think, because that I think that was like a kind of a not early iteration of it, but definitely wasn't polished as it is now.
mhm.
And I would seriously need to like invest in a PlayStation VR or something, because from what I hear, that world is like it's just insane.
You could tour the world in VR, like places you've never been. I just did a VR where they did a fly through, of Paris, and
Mhm.
you go into the Louvre Museum and you're like, what? I mean, like things like that. Places where if you can't travel, if people are afraid to get on a plane, you can kind of experience some of the things, other than games. There's so much
Yeah,
other stuff in VR, that's accessible too. So it can be very educational, and it can be just plain fun to shoot zombies in VR.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Has the pandemic really affected, motion capture and your work, or have you still been managing to stay busy?
It it's affected everybody, and mocap is no exception. We adjusted to it a lot faster. There's
How so?
also Well, there's different technologies in motion capture now. You have things called the inertial suits, like companies like Xsens, Neudem, um, Rococo. They have these suits, so you don't need all the cameras and the suit with all the reflective balls. Now you have like an exoskeleton that straps on, and
Oh,
you can.
interesting.
I know some actors are doing work from their home, because they're capturing somebody's remoting in on their computer, running the machine, and they're doing their punching in the garage in these suits. Uh, Everything has its limitations, of course, but
Hmm.
that was one way of kind of getting work done. Uh, the motion capture studios that I've worked with have also got their pandemic and their COVID policies under control.
Okay.
And you go to when I first started, you could only capture one person, right? One person in a volume is small. Now you can capture up to 10 people. You have multi-person scenes. But all of a sudden, when that happened, when the movie biz took over mocap, all of a sudden, now you got 50, 60 people around that. You're like, why are all these people here eating my craft service? Who, where are these production people? Do I need 7 producers standing around? Um,
Wow.
in mocap, we've gone back to smaller crews, because you just need somebody who knows how to run the technology on the computer, set
Yeah.
up the cameras. There's certain limitations. So the motion capture world has done a really good job in the studios of getting their COVID protocols under control.
Right.
Like I did a test. I did my COVID test yesterday
Okay.
at a pharmacy in the valley, and I just got my results back negative. Thank you, and so
Hell
I could
yeah.
work tomorrow because
Hmm.
I'm directing tomorrow. But last week I shot for 3 days, and I got a COVID test beforehand, and then I got a rapid test every morning. You know,
Hmm.
so that's an added expense that's thrown into the budget, but it's necessary, to make
Right.
Yeah.
sure that we're safe.
Right.
So yes, people have. I've been able to deal. I mean, in the beginning, back in March and April, it was kind of tough,
Yeah.
but people were already starting to figure out how to keep the business afloat, because we lost E3 this year. We lost when they
Yeah.
reveal all the really big trailers and stuff.
Yeah.
So it hurt everybody.
Right. How about
I know
training
games that
though?
have been pushed.
Like, cause you run a training facility, right?
Well, okay, I have a motion capture school, and
Okay.
I rent out a studio to teach my intro class.
Hmm.
Once you get past my intro class, I go into a series of heroes and monsters,
Hmm.
cinematics class, but that takes place in a motion capture volume. So I'm
Okay.
able to use one of the studios that I work at,
Hmm.
Rouge Mocap. They let me have classes there.
Hmm.
Well, since then, since March, I have not had a class, and it's been
Oh,
brutal. So my business has taken a hit, but I will not put you at risk for an acting class, right?
Right.
yeah.
Can you and imagine if somebody got COVID from one of my classes from somebody else, my business would be destroyed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have to just roll with the punches, and I have I, I have my students and my alumni who have been through my program. I have a student teacher page on Facebook.
Okay.
It's a closed page, so I send homework to them there, or we'll
Okay.
do a Zoom every now and then just to catch up,
Mm.
and let them know I'm thinking about you and I want to have classes, but I will not put your health and my health at risk. So
Right.
it's been really really tough. Every month we're like, okay, did the surge go down? Can we maybe think about it? And I've even looked into having a rapid test before my class, but that's an added expense to the
Expense. Yeah.
actor, and they can't
Hmm.
afford it.
Yeah.
If it was cheaper, if it was $25, that would be great.
Right.
But the rapid tests are in the $100-$200 range still, and you're
Yeah.
asking that on top of a class payment. It's to actors who couldn't work. I'm not going to drain your life savings either. I have too much respect for you for that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
No,
hear
it
that,
makes
Edgar?
perfect sense.
That means I still got time to get in shape and take a mocap class at some
Well,
point.
they got suits big enough for you, Rod. Don't worry.
Is that true, Richard? Is there a suit that would fit me?
I'm capturing a guy tomorrow that is 6'5", 240, I think. Yeah. So no,
Okay.
we got XXXL. Don't
I
you
just
worry.
need 3X's, brother. Where you going?
Hold on, relax.
I'm just letting you know.
Hit me where it hurt.
Richard, I'm curious with all the things that have like you guys have had to work with or work around with COVID going on. Do you see? I guess I see with a lot of other like people working from home that it's kind of exposed or shown that a lot of these jobs can be done from home. Do you think that there's a potential that a lot of this mocap work could be done from home going into the future?
For certain things, but in general, like you're talking cinematic scenes, you need
Yeah.
interaction with your other actor.
Hmm.
Uh, in-game stuff is very very different. If you're familiar with with God of War, the last God of War, there is a great motion capture performer. His name is Eric Jacobus, and he basically got the job of creating some of the Kratos' fight moves because he filmed himself. He's a martial artist and stunt guy, and he filmed himself in his garage. This is how Kratos would throw a punch. This is how Kratos would swing an axe. And he kind of threw it together and put it up on YouTube. And the guys at Santa Monica Studio saw it, and they're like, "Oh shit, maybe we should bring this guy in for an interview." And he did a great job, and he has his own motion capture suit. So, and he has now his own business. He's based in Vegas, okay, and his company is called Super Alloy. He's a really smart stunt guy, stunt coordinator, and he's been creating his own content. But he went out and he bought the suit's not cheap either. So, but he has a suit. He knows how to run the software. He knows how to deliver the data. So you can call him and say, "Hey, I need a couple moves for this thing," you know. And so
That's pretty cool.
he found a way around it. My friend, one of my students who is working, with another big game company, they sent him a suit. They bought the suit. They sent it to him. He learned how to use it, and they're doing this online. He's getting directed over Zoom, for moves. It's a new world, but you crave the interaction that you
Sure.
need, for fight scenes, stunt scenes, and cinematic scenes with other actors. So
Yeah, that makes perfect
there
sense. I mean,
you have options.
yeah.
The one thing that I do see happening though is, you know, the studios are calling the people that they're very familiar with. Like I'm proud to say that I love teaching. I've been able to get 60 of my students into their very first mocap. Just like with Alan's
Wow.
experience on Godzilla, it's like a bunch of my students are booking work now, and it's because of my classes. It's because of my training, and I cast projects as well, and I open the door. I will never guarantee you I will cast you, but I'll help
Right.
try to open the door for you. So a bunch of my new students were booking jobs, but now with COVID, the studios are going back to the people they really rely on or they know. You're like,
Mhm.
oh, same thing. Oh, I've worked with Richard for 5 games. Why would I just not bring him back?
Yeah.
Why do I need to look for a new guy unless it's for a specific skill or something like that? So in that sense, the veterans like us are lucky.
Mhm.
We're still working. You can't get rid of me yet. Uh, but but and then I tell my students, you just have to understand that the studios have a lot of money on the line, so they're going to go with something that they
That
trust and
they
believe in.
trust. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
I mean,
And they can't afford to do it again.
you know how expensive it is to make a game. A video game costs $200 million, right? I tell
Yeah.
my students, I'll pay your day rate. I'll pay your SAG scale day rate if that's what that's what you want to make. But it's your data is worth tens of thousands of dollars when it all comes down to it, right? All that data for gameplay,
Mhm.
that's what the studios have to spend on data is ridiculous. So
Yeah.
this goes back to who can do this. You better be really good at your job, right? If you want to do mocap, you got to be a good actor. You got to have really good skills.
I'm a really good voice actor, and I used to do Tybo.
Well, then you'll be perfect for the Billy Blank's Tybo video game.
Yeah,
I
the
mean, you're gonna
Billy
have to
Blanks
scale me
Tybo
back
VR
down,
game.
but
3XL. We got it, bro. We got it.
3XL. That's it. Rich, I'm telling you, it's a gold mine right here. I'm trying to tell you.
I will never tell anyone that they can't do mocap because I love those stories where people are like, my director told me I couldn't do it, and then they go out and they like become a star. I'm
Yeah.
not that guy. I will support you as much as I can.
Yeah.
I will tell you you need to train more, but I will never say I will never say that you can't do anything because I'm a product of that. You
Right.
know, so people have told me, and the beauty of I think uh, of what I do and being of mixed race, because I got in it so early, motion capture never really faced the racial problems that other entertainment genres and things have done because I have played every race, creed, color, alien, you know, everything in the world because it's pure imagination.
Right.
Yeah.
If I was just a white guy, then I would see um, when I started, it could have gone really heavy white, just like all the industry, just how the industry is. Now we're seeing a lot more diversity and culturalism, which is incredible. But because I was mixed, I was able to come in and they could say, "Oh, wait, he's half Asian. He's also, he's white too," and that was really really kept the door open because I've been on I cast and I tried to cast very diverse. That's this is what life is, and
Right.
so
Yeah.
the
Right.
mocap world in general didn't suffer too hard with
Mm.
too much racial inequality like other industries
I
have.
mean, there was
I
a
like to
big black
think.
dude in Left 4 Dead. I seen him. I used to play that. I used to play that character all the time.
Right. So
he was killing it. I loved it.
I mean, but I've been in castings where they've said, okay, and I actually did a casting on a game and they said, it's an African American character. And I said, great, I know 10 African American actors I can submit for this role.
Mhm.
There's no question. I'm not sending anybody else in. And then
Mhm.
you get other castings where they say, look, it's 10 moves. We have a white guy here and we just need him to do 10 moves as a girl, okay, or as a Hispanic guy. So of
Right.
course you're just going to shoot it. You don't. I'm not
Mhm.
going to bring another actor in at a huge cost to do 10 moves. So
Right.
it's
So
you have
somebody
to
better
be
figure out how to
flexible
walk
and
like a
diverse
girl.
in that sense. Well, okay, so
Yeah.
now
You better be
when I
diverse.
Somebody in this room is
well
gonna
in the
walk like a
beginning of my
girl because we're not
career,
hiring a new talent.
listen, in the beginning of my career, I
Mhm.
played a lot of girls in games because there weren't a lot of female characters in games. So
Sure.
there was a handful of moves, 10 moves. Richard,
Mhm.
can you do that? Can you walk like a girl? Yes. You know, that's my job. I'm an actor.
You're an actor,
But
yeah.
but now, look at all the incredible games for women characters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Laura
yeah.
Croft, Tomb
Lara
Raider,
Croft, yep.
you know, The Last of Us.
Yep.
All of these great, there are amazing, talented female actresses and motion capture performers, you know, and stunt women out there.
Absolutely.
Why would I not hire them to be women? Our hips are different. They move differently.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need to do female moves anymore. You know,
I want to be a guy, damn it.
I want to be a creature. I don't care about the guy.
Yeah.
I want to be a monster. You know, but you have to. It's the evolution of our industry. It's the way things move. You have to be flexible. You have to be open minded, and you have to be diverse. I mean, that's it's. This is such a dream job. How can I love what I do. How could I not, you know, not try to include other people in this
Right.
too? And it was time for me. After 100 games, I felt it was time for me to give back to the community that was so good to me. That's why I started teaching. You know, that's why I want to see new faces in the volume. I want to discover new talent. Because when I get a text or an email of somebody that says, I booked my first motion capture, yeah, I'm super excited. I'm not jealous, you know. It's like
Right.
it's their time, it's their chance, it's their. I always say, if I look back on 20 years of motion capture that I've done, think about the effect that I've had on pop culture with a video game, with
Wow,
with a
that's
product or
true.
something like
So
that. You
true.
know, I have kind of achieved the, you know, I've achieved the American dream. I've achieved the performer's dream. I may not be rich and have millions of dollars, you know, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with my body of work and what I've contributed to society.
Got a
And
question
that's
that
what
popped
matters.
up on the comments really quick. I'm gonna put that up. Donnell says, "Oh, is it like a scripted monologue type of thing where you immerse yourself in the part?" He's talking about obviously motion capture.
Yeah, I mean, monologues. I don't know. Have you seen the Andy Serkis monologue where
Caesar.
he does a no, he does a Shakespearean monologue,
Oh, okay.
okay? And then they take that. I mean, they duplicated his face. It's amazing. And then they put it side by side, and they make him an alien, and they put the Shakespearean monologue on that as well. And it's just as compelling as if it was a human.
Hmm.
So in cinematic work, we have monologues. We have, you know, we have. Uh, it's just like a movie. I tell my students, if you're willing to spit, snarl, drool, you know, snot in film or TV, right? Which they always want to do. They always want a crying scene. You want an emotional scene to show your range,
Yeah.
right? They want snot dripping out of their nose.
Mhm.
I'm like, you have to do that in motion capture as well. Because if I'm not crying, let's say you can tell when people fake cry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they just go, when you cry, it's from a deep place inside of your soul that makes you
Yeah.
cry. That little minutia movement of stuff that you bring, how you hold your body, what your face does, you have to cry in the volume.
Yeah.
If you don't, your skeleton never lies, and I can tell when you're faking it. And so I make so much noise in the volume. I snarl, I spit, I drool, you know, whatever it takes to get into the character, because I have to. It's pure imagination. I need all of those senses to be open to do that. Otherwise, I'm faking it.
So you gotta let go of your ego.
Yeah, you have to. You already look ridiculous in that stupid suit. You know,
I thought this
pajamas.
was kind of cool though. I'm you know, that's just me. I put on that suit. I'm like, man, let me take a selfie really quick.
You can see a little too much of me in that suit.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. That is.
You got to get the right angle.
Yeah, for sure.
All those pictures I post to me in the mocap suit. Believe me, I take my time deciding which ones I'm going to post. I got some really bad ones too. So
Nicole says, "Hi, homies. What up? What up,
hey.
What's up, homie?"
Yeah. How many pictures you take before you post one? Like 100 pictures?
No. You're just trying to get
that bad.
Plus I have to hide what I'm working on, you know, because the NDAs on games and things like that you can't. Sometimes the studio doesn't want you people to know where you're shooting, things like that. So I have some pretty bad pictures of me in the suit. It depends on the studio, so you'll never see those. But
You mentioned you were talking earlier about the training that you give to your students and things like that. I'm just curious if you've ever been on a set or doing work along somebody that you were like, how did you get here?
He paid his money,
all
Edgar,
the
like
time.
everybody else. He paid his money.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, this is the producer's son. Oh, this is the producer's friend. Or this is somebody who wanted to get into mocap, and I thought I'd bring him in. And so, I did it. I did a demo with one actor who the producer brought his friend in who was an actor. He was like, well, he's my friend. I'd love for him to try to get to experience this. And he brought him in, and we had to do a scene together, and the guy was horrific.
Is that not to be expected the first time, though?
No, you're an actor. Acting is acting. Okay. Okay. He didn't have the imagination, and we weren't playing humans. Let's put it that way. We were playing animals that talk. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And so he was just horrible. And at the end of this demo that we did, they did a what is it called? Post-mortem right there in the studio, and everybody said, so what did you think about what happened? And they all said, that guy sucked. Who brought that actor in? And the producer said, that was my fault. And because I had already had somebody lined up to work with me, and then he called me back and said, well, I want to bring my friend in. And so I had to let my actor know that he wasn't working on the job, that I had on hold. I had to release him. So this guy came in, and the response from the whole team was, that guy should have never been in this suit.
Wow.
And maybe he's done some acting work, but he just wasn't ready for mocap. And that's the other thing. There's technical things and like if you can't use your imagination, then if you don't have improv, and this might go back to the very first question that you asked me, Rob. Why am I like this? Because I have to improv all the time. I have to be ready to go with an answer or a reaction or something. Maybe that's why my personality is as goofy as it is.
You take direction well.
And you just have to. You have to just sort of be able to roll with the punches, understand what's going on around you, and use your imagination and see everything. You have to see everything all the time, right? So I guess maybe that's it. But that I've been in that situation where you're like, no wonder he's the producer's son, and he's in here because no casting director would ever put him in. So it's just like Hollywood. Every other,
Absolutely. What's up, Dennis? Thank you for joining us. You got any questions for Richard while we have him on? But what would you
now or
say?
Forever hold your peace.
Yeah, speak now, forever, for real. But Richard, what would you say would be the first step if someone wanted to take up motion capture? What would be the first thing that they should consider or do or just have ready to go if they're gonna try to walk into that world for training?
Come take my class at the Mocap Vaults. I'll plug my school, the Mocap Vaults.
Plug your school, man. That's why we here.
Yeah.
Plug your school.
But
where can they find that information?
themocapvaults.com, but I also we also have Go Mocap to make it even simpler. GoMocap.com. But we're not having classes right now, but there's information on my website. But that's it. You've got to understand the world you're walking into. It's the same thing. Let me ask you this, Rob. Would you do a voiceover for Criminal Minds, without ever watching an episode of Criminal Minds? Right?
No, you got to do
you got to know, do your homework, right? You got to know the genre you're working in.
Yeah.
Right. So
absolutely.
It's the same thing about mocap. You should know what you're getting into. I mean, I've had people take my class and they've just said, you know what, this is not for me. It's too physical.
Wow.
I'm too old, or they said, I'm not quick enough. I don't have that improv. But you come into my intro class. I teach you about the technology. I take you back to very basic acting exercises that we learned in high school and college. Mocap is like one of the things I do is mask work. You know, can you put on a mask, not talk, not make any sounds? I can't see your facial expressions, but can you bring a character to life with just your body? You know,
Wow, yeah, that's asking for a lot.
so but that's what's happening because why?
Yeah.
I'm not capturing your voice. Voiceover actor is going to do the dialogue later, or
Yep.
I'm going to have to create. I'm going to create the dialogue in my own movement and whatever, and then there's somebody else who's going to put that touch on it afterwards. So can I
Mhm.
bring, you know, can I bring my movements to life with my body only? If I said to you, if I said to you, uh, I want you to be a peg leg pirate, right?
Mhm.
Think about that. But I can't. You can't go R. You can't have an eye patch. You know. How are
Yeah.
you going to bring a peg leg pirate to life? That when I look at it, I know it's a peg leg pirate.
Yeah,
That's
that
one of
no,
the.
that's interesting.
Take one of your
That's one of the
shoes
Wow.
off and walk
characters.
around, homie.
Well, well,
I got it.
see.
I got it.
Oh, but you know what?
Let's
You know what will
go.
happen? You know what will happen?
What's up?
I do that in my class. That's
Mhm.
one of the characters, peg leg pirate,
Mhm.
swabbing the deck. Some people don't even know what swabbing means.
Uh-huh.
Some people have never used a mop, so their actions are like raking. Okay, and then um, you, they don't know how to make the legs stiff. So you know what the response is? They put on the mask. I say, "Show me this peg leg pirate." Right? I
Mhm.
whisper. It's a secret. All the other students are watching because I'm going to have you guess what this character is. You do it for 30 seconds, and then I'm like, "What did you see?" And the response will be like, "Angry janitor," or they will be somebody on the beach, you know, using a metal detector.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to be
You got to
super
sell it. You got to
clear. You've
sell
got to
it.
be super clear and specific in your movements,
Okay.
and some people can't do that. So that's, you know, that's like a sample of what I do in my class. Is mask work and then scene work, and then I mean think about uh, like what's happening in TV shows now. They're using real vets, right, in SEAL team and SWAT,
Mhm.
and they're using
Sure.
guys who have really real gun experience
Mhm.
from Iraq. You know, all of a sudden being an actor who goes out on a shooting range once every 3 months, you're not going to get the role if I need real military, you know?
Yeah.
And that now transfers into the mocap world as well. I
Ooh.
need guys who, I mean, you know, there are good actors who know how, and they do, they get the training. But like in Call of Duty, they use some really real smart tactical advisors and people who have been there and done it, you know? That's
Right.
just
Yeah,
the
the length
nature of
of
the
credits
business.
that length of credits on those video games is long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Are you guys dealing with the same issue we are in the voiceover community where you have, because I know there's been a lot of bigger name actors who have put on the suit, uh and like for us in the voiceover world, you know, we work hard, we do our thing, and what they will do sometime is they will cast a big name talent like a Rihanna, right, to do a
Mhm.
character because she's the hot name at the time, and literally craft a movie around her to make it work versus hiring a talented voiceover actress. Are you seeing that? Because I know I see like what game was I playing with my brothers? Um, oh Jesus, I think it was Wildlands. It was one of those Tom Clancy games, Ghost Recon games, and they
Mhm.
get what's the guy, the Punisher, Edgar in Daredevil, in Marvel. What's his
The
name?
Berthnall,
actor.
right?
Yeah,
John
Berthol.
John
Yeah, so
Berth.
he's like one of the characters in there, and then you see this time and time again with motion capture. They just sometimes get these bigger artists to do things. Is that is that something that's affecting your industry where you're seeing a lot of bigger names just kind of get roles not because of their work but because of their name status?
Um, well, okay, it's kind of twofold, and one way to explain it is look at what Cyberpunk 2033, right? Keanu Reeves,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you have a big star like him going into a video game. What's great is, you know, he's a producer on that thing. He put the time and the effort to work on that game and to be part of it. You know, and it was a what an 8 year process to make that game and
Yeah.
stuff. So on one hand, you get a star like that. I mean, and Keanu's great. He has no ego. you know, and he's a fun guy, and he's a nice guy. So I can't trash him, you know. But that game, it
But we
made
can
its
trash
money
this game.
back. The game came out and made its money back in one day that they had spent
Mhm.
on 8 years of developing it. And
Wow.
then all of a sudden the bugs started happening, right? And it just got slammed.
Yeah, it was
You,
bad.
you know, so on one hand, as part of the producer, he's going to take, or he's going to take the hit on that. But he deserved. I mean, he's great. You know, that character's cool to have Keanu in it. In the voiceover world, I think it's different because Samuel Jackson did say one thing: I want to get in the suit and do my own mocap for something, because he voices a lot of characters, right? And then once he realized how fun it was and how creative it was, then put me in the suit now. But at first time he didn't want to do it. You know, I've worked on games where the lead character is a star, and they come in and they do half a day in the mocap studio just for the promotional pictures, right?
hmm
But then they want to go ahead and somebody else. I'm going to be the body for the rest of the character for the rest of the game, because there's certain stars that want to do it, and there's certain stars that if somebody offered you Raw a big ass check, are you going to say no?
Probably not.
Right. So same thing for Rihanna, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna say, here's this big check, and she's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
You know?
knocking her for doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But you know what I mean? It's some people want to do it. Some people, it's the paycheck, and that's what my team told me to do. And
I'm hoping you're not
you
you're
have
not bursting the bubble of all the like Tony Hawk games where I would see the pro
yeah.
skaters get into the mocap suits and like, no,
No,
we
but
got them for their style and everything.
look, I only want Tony Hawk to do Tony Hawk games, right?
Yeah.
You want that's that skill. That's what you're paying for. And Tony Hawk wants to do it, and those guys want to do it. That's
Oh yeah.
different than some of this. But take for instance, Last of Us.
Mhm.
Why didn't they cast a known actor instead of Troy Baker? You know, Troy Baker was perfect for that job.
Mhm.
Done. You know, they didn't need John Travolta to come in and do it. You know,
Yeah.
so it's it's their game company's decision on what they want to do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, look, Nolan North, he does some incredible voices, like in the Batman game, things like that, the Penguin, things, like these guys, you're right for the job, and you're in the right place at the right time.
Mhm.
So I think we have no control over that, but I have seen voiceover gigs. All of a sudden, they say they have no money, and then all of a sudden, you're like, wait, how did they get that star to do that voiceover spot? And I know they weren't going to pay him what they offered me. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I
I mean, it's
it's
kind of
somebody at the top saying, I'm willing to spend that kind of money on somebody.
yeah. It's kind of funny that this came up today, and probably it's in the back of my head because I saw on a Facebook memory today is the fourth anniversary of when Jane Lynch stole a job from me.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I booked the job, I recorded it, everything went down, and apparently, like, I didn't know that their first choice was Jane Lynch, and they were gonna do a whole different spin, and her people never got back to them or whatever. They hired me, I did the job, and all of a sudden, about I don't know, 3-4 days go by, and they go, "Hey, man, so here's $150 for your trouble, but we're not gonna be using your work." Jane Lynch became available, and I go, I can't even fight that, but I'm mad because Jane Lynch was on that TV show at the time. I think Wreck-It Ralph was brand new at the time, whatever it was.
I was going to ask if you were going to be in Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, she was on fire, man. So I couldn't even knock it, but I was like, man, Jane Lynch stole money from me. That's how it is. That's how it is. But I mean, and you know what? She's a talented woman, so I wasn't too mad, and I'm not that. I'm nobody. You know what I mean? So I'm just a
Ra,
if you
ever run into her, would you ever bring it up to her?
Yeah. Hell yeah. I'd be like, hey Jane, you owe me a little
Remember
bit of money.
that?
Yeah.
But I would tell her, in all fun, I would tell her, and I would hope she'd get a laugh out of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
Yeah.
game. Like, I mean, that happens between, just two talent anyway, right? Like you could drop something and they go, oh, we need to try something else. And then they go, hey, we're going to go a different direction anyway. I mean, I auditioned once for a Netflix animated TV show and pretty much got hired for it. And then something happened. They hired one guy, the direction changed, and they go, hey, can you kind of do this instead? And that wasn't really in my wheelhouse. And they went and hired somebody else. It happens.
Mm.
Yeah.
No big deal.
You know, it's interesting because we're not in control. Somebody else is in control, and the minds gets changed, money gets changed, all kinds of things happen. I recently, I got a voice agent, and they sent me out on an audition, and it was for that spam commercial. Spam, tastes good, something like that, whatever. And
Mhm.
I saw the commercial, and I was like, I saw the commercial, and the guy that does the voiceover on that, he's freaking awesome. I was like, thank God they didn't hire me. I wouldn't have hired me. That guy is perfect for that
Right.
job
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, like his voiceover it's really funny. But every time I see a spam commercial, I'm like, okay, I'm willing to let him have it because he was definitely better than I was. But I still wanted to say
Right.
spam.
Yeah. You wanted to be that guy. Like, there's
Yeah.
there's always that job. You're like, man, yeah, they most of the time with the casting people, they know what they're doing. And to be honest with you, I was never gonna pull off what they had Jane Lynch do. But it's just hands down, she was great. And I wasn't even that level of talent yet. You know what I mean? Like I was still fresh. That was like 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah,
Mhm.
that was pretty crazy. But you live and you learn, man. I mean, I
But
can forever say I got bumped by Jane Lynch.
Yeah. I was gonna say, at least you got
Right.
that. You got that credit early on.
Yeah.
Um, are you familiar with the game Bayonetta?
Hmm.
So Bayonetta, Japanese game. It's a pretty cool game. I played two characters in the cinematics for that. One was Balder, the evil bad guy, and he's very very effeminate and very crazy, right? And
Hmm.
and then there's a demon in there, and he's a big African American guy, huge. So I get this call to audition for the game. I I get called. It shoots in Japan.
Oh.
So I get cast. I'm going to be playing two roles. Then they call me back and they go, the client has now decided they want to use an African American actor for the role of the demon. Okay. So he can also play the Fae character. So we just feel it's right to do that. And I was like, okay, I just lost my first trip to Japan and this
Nah.
big role. So I said, okay, yeah, I understand. You want to go? I can't argue with that. Good
Yeah.
luck. Have a great job. That actor who got the role ends up getting cast in a movie, and it's shooting the same time as the game. And they've been in rehearsal on this game for a month now. And they call me back up and they go, remember Bayonetta? Well, the actor we replaced you with got a movie, and he'd rather do the movie because it'll make more money than
Right.
he'll get residuals on a feature film. So
Yeah.
he doesn't want to do the game. He can't do the game. So they came crawling back with their tail between their legs and like, do you want to do the job now? And I'm like, a trip to Japan? And
Yeah.
but they literally said, and it shoots next week. We leave next week. Everybody's been in rehearsal for a month, and I had to learn two roles on the plane. you know,
Wow.
so that was a good. It came back around. I said, okay, that if it's not right for me, it's not right for me. I'm willing to
Yeah.
move on. But the role came back to me, and in Bayonetta, I played two lead roles.
See, now I have more of an urge to go buy that game. I didn't get a chance to play it. I was gonna get it when I had my Wii U, and
Mhm.
then now when I go back and try to buy it, the game is like crazy expensive now. I don't know what happened. It's like a rare game apparently that it's like
No,
hard to
yeah,
get your hands on now.
people love that game. And
Yeah.
what I love now is like how on YouTube somebody will beat a game right now that the day it comes out, and post all that footage, and
Yeah.
so and all the remasters of the games that I worked on 10 years ago are now coming back. So I'm getting crazy really clear footage of stuff I worked on that I couldn't get material for 10 years ago. So
You're like, hell
I'm
yeah.
watching. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch that cinematic all over again and remember what I did in that. And, it's kind of funny.
In 4K.
Exactly.
That's
And
awesome.
and I, I'm working on a game tomorrow. I'm directing. Uh, I have been working on the game. It's already out. I can tell you, it's Rogue Company.
Okay.
From High Res Studios, Rogue Company. I help bring the characters to life for their emotes and idols and things like that. So I'm shooting on Rogue Company tomorrow, but one of this, one of the scenes, one of the emotes that we have to do. I was like, oh my God, I did that 10 years ago in this game. And I was able to look up the footage and say, see, this is what we're going to do. It turned out to be a nice reference, but I'm directing now more stuff. So I get to help cast. So I'm seeing it from both sides of the table. I'm
Mhm.
understanding, by doing all these games, I know what the move list looks like. I know what it needs to look like. I'm helping to design it. That's been pretty amazing. And now I get to direct. I get to direct some of my students.
Yeah.
Also because I put an audition out there. I submit 12 to 15 actors per role, and it comes down to you winning out. One person's going to get that role.
Mhm.
And
Do you find yourself? I'm sorry, Edgar. You got a question?
yeah,
I was gonna ask about the emotes. That's got to be a fun thing to get to create. Like emotes, I mean, those are like those almost become legendary.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, Rogue Company has this big dance emote, like you
Mhm.
see, because I played Dima in the first. I captured Dima for the first round of Rogue Company, and I do this Michael Jackson, dance in
Yeah,
there, and it's one of their top selling ones ever,
yeah,
and it's pretty funny to see it on every character. And somebody has gone and done that emote on every character in one clip, and it's really funny to see.
yeah,
But I'm like, that's my dance move. I
yeah. To
created
be like
that.
to be able to
That's
see like your
cool.
own body doing that like on screen, that's got to be freaking cool. We were all big on it with Destiny when I was playing that.
Hmm.
The emotes in that were just yeah. Hotline Bling was a thing with Drake. I know Raw, your favorite rapper. That
Yeah,
dance was just wow, like everywhere.
we have gun maracas, which are pretty cool.
Oh, nice. Yes.
You know,
Do you find yourself kind of just having a different perspective when it comes to directing and casting? Kind of like I notice in my eyes, one of the reasons why like Marvel's having such success with their movies is because Kevin Feige understands comic books. He understands the both sides of the fence. He understands the process of making a movie and what people want to see in terms of storytelling. Now that you've been on both sides of the fence and you're now more kind of getting into the directing and the casting, do you find that the sort of work that you're doing is different than the stuff that was coming out years ago when you're just kind of a talent at one point?
oh yeah, definitely. There are there are more skilled people now. I mean, like, and what you can add to a game, uh, parkour, right?
Hmm.
Parkour was not a big thing in games, but now it is. You take
Yeah.
things like Dying Light, you know. So so different skills have now come to the forefront of games. So that's where if you're a skill based person, if you do bow
Tybo.
staff, or tie bow, it's going to be a specialty thing that you add in. So yeah, there are some updated stuff. There's also people will say I will do a shot list. And I'm like, I did this in 5 games. I did the exact same thing in all 5 games. And you go, well, why didn't they just take it from that game and put it in here? Well, it's a different studio and everybody wants to own their own moves. Nobody wants to buy from a mocap library of moves if you can
Mhm.
say, no, my actor did this move. This character is sure. Every game has somebody running in it, but this is my character running in it. This is, that that's why it's not going to change. You're gonna find a new skill comes along that'll be captured that hasn't been captured before. Because or it wasn't technically able to happen. But now, I mean, take a look at the Unreal Engine, right? Epic with what they're doing with
Mhm.
Unreal. They just released this whole face capture thing, yesterday, the technology has made what we do uh, limitless almost.
Mhm.
So, you know, there's a game that's been in the works that has the Monkey King in it. What is it called? Wukong or something like that. It's
Uh,
un,
the new Chinese game.
yes, it's beautiful, right?
It's
I mean,
gorgeous.
you're taking, what are you going to do? You're going to capture somebody who is proficient at wushu, right?
Yeah.
Like it's getting complete reimagination of it because you have the Monkey King. I mean, like
Mhm.
that's something that hasn't been done in a long time. So,
Talk about
or
like
you,
art in a video game. Like that video game is
it's
gonna be
beautiful. It's
groundbreaking.
beautiful. Oh, I'm so excited for that game.
There's
So
only one other game. It reminded me a lot of Okami when
yeah,
I first played that on the PlayStation 2. Okami was just like you were playing a video game that was artwork. Like it was unreal. Like I don't know. I think it's gonna set a new bar. That's for damn
yeah.
sure.
I mean, the technology change. I mean, when you know, you go from GameCube to PS3 down to
Hmm.
PS5. I mean, like
Yeah.
every time a console or a piece of equipment changes, the technology just helps advance it along
Hmm.
even more. I mean, right now the big wow thing, other than like looking at the Mandalorian, right? And they're shooting the virtual production
360.
stages,
Yeah.
the 360 stage, and things like that.
Sure.
Like one of the newest technologies in motion capture is finger capture with gloves. So in motion capture, basically, they will put a marker here and here on my hands and then wrist. Okay, and basically in mocap, your hands are just like paddles. Okay, and the fingers are all being hand animated by animators. If I has to pick up a gun, or we're doing a couple finger markers, pretty simple, just to get some basic finger capture. Now all of a sudden, this new technology of these mocap gloves are coming out that are capturing fingers, which is speeding up the process for the animators.
Hmm.
And I my friends are working with this one glove, Stretch Sense, and they have one of their tests they did was American Sign Language. Okay, it was incredible. Like
Wow.
they were proving that you can do finger capture and sign language, which is, I love it because it's not just somebody grabbing a gun. It just shows
Yeah.
where the technology, and mocap came out of the medical field on studying human anatomy and how you move with injuries and things like that. So it's kind of cool to see that. But the technology of mocap gloves is something new, and all of a sudden it's going to speed up the process,
Mhm.
and you're going to get, in VR, while you got to get in that headset, you're
Yeah.
going to be able to see your hands doing things, right?
Yeah.
Like you're holding a lightsaber. You're doing, you know,
I will never
it's
forget
it's
that when I was looking down, you pretended you're a stormtrooper in one of the things. So you're like, you look down and you're like, holy shit, I'm holding a blaster.
yeah, it's
It
pretty
was so
incredible.
cool. You're right about the hand technology thing. I'm remembering like old video games where it was basically like a paw grabbing stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I played
And they just
basketball.
never get it.
Yeah, I played a lot of basketball games, and the hands literally stood out like that. Like they'd dunk, and they'd be like,
Uh-huh.
you're like, what is that?
I know, like Amit is joining us in our chat, but I remember playing like Nintendo 64, like all the wrestling video games and stuff like that,
Hmm.
where you would just literally see like hand paddles like just chopping at each other.
Oh God.
I was like, one day we'll get past
Well,
this, and
yeah,
lo and behold,
Yeah,
we did.
we did,
yeah,
we did,
it's kind of
man.
cool.
Richard, man, thank you for coming on with us, man. It's been a blessing to have you on. I've been waiting for this for a while. Been dying to get you on since we started the podcast back
Hmm.
last, what was it, June, July, yeah.
Well, thank you. No, thank you for having me. I'm glad. You know, it's nice to be able to talk like this too, and just be casual, and it just.
Hmm.
I'm glad you're interested, and you're fans of my work, and you actually have intelligent questions, and and fanboy questions. I love my fans. I can't believe I have Kevin followers, and fans of my work. I think what was really incredible, I'll tell you one quick story. I did a convention and we were signing for Ghidorah, and this guy came up and he goes, I don't care about Ghidorah. And he goes, I want your he goes, I want your autograph. And he pulled out, he had created his own Force Unleashed 2 print with
Right.
me as the
Whoa.
apprentice and Darth Vader. He goes, you play Darth Vader in this game. I want your autograph for that. And he was a gamer. He was like, I don't know Ghidorah, but I know your game work. And that was
Right.
like, I was so touched by that and just so appreciative that somebody actually recognized my work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and knew me from that. So that's I've been very, very blessed. So every time we get to do an interview and get to do something like this, I'm grateful, and
I
I
think
thank you guys for having me.
I think it's a shame that this much time has gone by and you're not recognized the way you should be. And I'm not even saying that because I know you. I'm saying that because you've done some awesome work and you are a huge part of pop culture. Like I said, like I know a lot of people who probably aren't listening right now because they're at work, they're doing whatever. But they're gonna see this show. They're gonna listen to the show on the podcast on the on audio, and they're gonna go, wow, like I played games with this guy. This guy's a part of my life.
Me,
You
dude.
know?
I'm
Yeah.
bitches. I'm that guy.
I mean, when I told Edgar, I was, I kind of told him, gave him the rundown about you, and I go, you know what? I'm talking too much. Visit the website. Like, here's his information. And he was like, dude, this guy? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Look at the list. And he was reading the list. I said, yes, I know. I've been to his house.
Killed him
Yes,
in that. I
know."
killed him in that. I killed him in that.
So I mean, you've done a lot for the culture, and you're a nerd about it yourself, and that's the cool thing about you is that it's not just work for you. It's something you live.
Yeah, you have to be a fanboy and a fangirl of this work. Otherwise, you can't
Mhm.
do it because you don't know what a stormtrooper is. You don't know these characters intimately too, and it's really been, like I say every day, I can't believe this is my job.
Yeah.
So I have been very lucky to be able to do what I do and share it now and kind of there was nobody who taught me. I had to help teach myself and the people who were directing me along the way because there aren't a lot of motion capture directors. There are animation directors who are stuck behind a computer and they don't like to talk to people. So now they have to
Mhm.
tell an actor what to do, and they don't know how to speak with to them. And so that's been kind of my education and why I've transformed into a director as well and a stunt coordinator. It's uh, the evolution is only natural for me, I think, and
Mhm.
I love what I do. Not very many people can say that,
Mhm.
and so I wake up pretty lucky.
Absolutely, man. Thank you again, Richard, and we're gonna have to have you back on again eventually to talk some more stuff because this was a really fun interview, and we've had guests on before, but you're like I'd say our most official interview without throwing stones at our past guests. But
We all got to start somewhere.
yeah, we all gotta start somewhere. But thank you for joining the show. Hey guys, that'll do it for this installment of the What You Know About It podcast. This has been an honor and a pleasure to have Richard Dorton on, and I can't thank him enough for being on with us. Edgar, you have fun today with this one?
Absolutely, Richard. You've gained a fan in me. Yeah, you didn't know it, but I was already a fan. But I'm definitely going to be following your work from now on, man.
Thank
Absolutely. If you like the show, hit that like button. We need those likes. Make sure you hit that for us. Subscribe, share. I mean, guys, this is the kind of quality that we want to bring. This was a fun interview for us. I know I see that smile on Edgar's face right now. He had a good time today. But if you guys have any topics or questions, hit us up in the email, WUKAIpodcast@gmail.com, or as like Panic Hispanic likes to say, oh, where you at? Where you at?
I
One more
said it,
time.
Wukai.
Okay, there you
Why did
go.
you mute me?
I didn't mute you. You mute yourself.
I would never mute myself, bro.
Oh man, failures already. At least that didn't happen in an interview. Thank God. Guys, hit us up. Send those send those emails to us so we can talk about it. You know what it is. You know what we do. It's been the same thing every time. Until next time, be safe, be kind, and live a little bit.
Thanks, guys.